Abortion Fund. These funds provide life-saving funding for transportation so that people can travel out of state to have safe, legal abortions. Supporting local, community-based organizations is a wonderful way to contribute to reproductive rights, to the reproductive justice movement, and every dollar counts. My mother taught me from a young age that one of the most honorable things a person can do is fight for the causes that you believe in, and that to make a change, you have to make your voice heard. So today, we are going to scream. You say my choice. My body. 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 My choice. This is justice. Thank you so much for coming here today and for the work that you all do. I know that as long as we keep faith and stay united, we will find justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Soraya, for that. Next, I'm happy to introduce Rebecca, who's a senior at George Washington University. And she's going to speak to us today about murdered and missing Indigenous women and the effect that this ruling will have on them.
My bad. Sorry, guys. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm Kanaka Maoli, which I don't want it to do feedback again. I'm so sorry. Okay. Which is the correct term for somebody who's Native Hawaiian. And I'm speaking to you from the ancestral lands of the Nacotchtank. Today is the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. As of 2016, the National Crime Information Center has reported 5,712 cases of missing American Indian and Alaska Native women and girls. According to Native Women's Wilderness, Indigenous women are murdered at a rate that is 10 times higher than that of all other ethnicities. Murder is the third leading cause of death for Indigenous women. 84.3% of Indigenous women have experienced violence, and 56.1% of Indigenous women experience sexual violence. Indigenous women are 2 times more likely to be raped than Anglo-American white women. 64 to 77% of sex trafficking victims in Hawaii are of some or all Native Hawaiian heritage. The proposed overturning of Roe v. Wade will do nothing but to perpetuate state-sanctioned violence against Indigenous women. We do not need more Indigenous people as cogs. I don't want this to, I'm so sorry. As cogs in our destructive justice system. Just pause. Okay.
Try holding it away from your shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, further from you.
You got it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Behind the speaker? Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry again.
Keep going.
I'm sure, as you've all already heard this afternoon, a lot of these trigger laws are not going to include any sort of wording to allow abortion in cases of sexual assault or incest. And unfortunately, this means that Indigenous women are going to be disproportionately affected by this yet again. And I'm really angry, and I'm sick and tired of having to fight for so many other people when, unfortunately, like, this is something that's being, this is something that you guys are holding space for me. I really appreciate it very much. Yeah, thank you.
We're grateful you're
Okay,
right. So for our next speaker, we're going to be introducing Melissa from March for Our Lives.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for speaking. That was really wonderful, and it was a great way to kick this off. So, hi everyone. My name is Melissa Altschuler, and I'm an organizer with March for Our Lives. For years, I have worked directly with people like you, the youth. We've stood up, we've called BS, and we've decided that we're done living in fear. We're done living with archaic laws and archaic lawmakers, and we're done with our bodies being more regulated than the barrel of an AR-15. Let's set the stage. Flashback a few nights ago. I'm finishing up my last paper of my college career, excited to graduate, when I look up and my roommate is standing in my doorframe, sobbing her eyes out, and I knew something happened. So of course I turn over my phone and my CNN lights up. It's the last week of finals. I should not be looking forward to graduation. I should not be out here doing this. It's as if nothing really mattered anyways. I was about to learn that the leaked draft SCOTUS ruling would strip me of my rights of an abortion, strip me of my right to make decisions about my own health, and strip me of my own bodily autonomy. My phone blew up with texts, and this very street started flooding with people just like you from all corners of this city. The moment that we feared, the moment that we knew to be unthinkable, the moment that the GOP has been holding over us for 40 years, well, it finally arrived. And we're out here today to say no more. If the GOP and the 5 justices were really pro-life, then semi-automatic weapons would be off the streets of America, out of our communities. America wouldn't be the highest spending country on military. And you know what? We would actually care for our birthing people, and we would fund programs like Medicaid in non-expansion states that would actually do something. I'm a student of public health. I know the stats. In America, we are the highest maternal mortality of all high-income countries. There are 17 per 100,000 live births that end in death. For Black women, 43 out of 100,000 live births end in death. And in DC, Black women are 70.9 out of 100,000 live births. That is so disproportionately ridiculous, and everyone should be fuming. It's a shame! But you know what? Racism, economic insecurity, immigration status, they already exacerbate barriers to reproductive services and abortion care. And this fight is intersectional, so we as young people must take to the streets and fight for our most vulnerable communities. But you know what? Abortions are only one solution to reduce the death toll from high-risk pregnancies. Abortion needs to remain a choice for economically disadvantaged, people who can't take a day off of work, people who can't pay a plane ticket to cross a border, and those whose lives will be at risk if they're forced to follow through pregnancy. Yes! But at the same time, abortions shouldn't be reserved for high-risk situations. 1 in 4 Americans have received an abortion. You know someone who's received an abortion, whether for medical reasons, financial reasons, personal reasons. I don't give a shit. They're none of your business. I'll wrap it up with this. This is our time to fight, to keep fighting, and to fight harder. The impending ruling only amplified the need for us to vote. Yes. More than 8 million Americans have turned 18 in the past 2 years. Now they're eligible to vote. So these midterms, not only are they important for things like gun sense candidates, for pro-choice candidates, for all the like, for climate change, everything that we care about, we need congressional support to codify Roe and for life-saving legislation. As a generation, we constantly wonder if our politicians are going to limit our freedoms, but they work for us. If they continue to make decisions about our bodies, we'll continue to make decisions about their jobs. Thank you all, and I'll see you out here again tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I would like to introduce next on Generation Ratify, Belen Yeshigeta and Rosie Couture. Just Belen right now.
Yeah, thank you, Rosie. Just me.
Hi everyone, my name is Blaine Yeshigeta. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the executive directors and co-founders of Generation Ratify. A movement of over 10,000 young people organizing to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. I am so grateful to be in this community with you here today, even if it's after 2 AP tests. But this is the moment that we are in. Our lives, our bodies, and our futures are at stake. We need a mass youth mobilization to meet this moment. This is why we are out here today. I want to talk to you all a little bit about the Equal Rights Amendment, or the ERA. The ERA is a proposed amendment that would add an explicit guarantee of sex equality to the United States Constitution. That's right. That's right. Currently, our Constitution does not actually prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Because of this, women and queer people don't have the full protection of the law to help us fight against instances of sex-based discrimination, like attacks on our reproductive rights. The ERA will protect the right to abortion and the full range of reproductive health care services, and it is more critically needed now more than ever before. If we had the Equal Rights Amendment, we would have a strong, comprehensive legal tool to defend abortion. The Senate must act now to remove the deadline on the ERA. Pressure your senator to defend the ERA, and pressure your senator to protect your right to bodily autonomy. Laws are temporary, but amendments are permanent. We need to secure our right to gender equality in the Constitution so we cannot be stripped of our essential rights anymore. This is the next step of the reproductive justice movement. As we continue to push forward in this fight, it's critical that we organize within our communities and support abortion mutual aid funds so people can access the care that they deserve. Generation Ratify is just one of the many youth organizations here today. Our fight for gender equality is an intersectional one. Plugging into any one of our organizations will help move all of us forward. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much, Blaine. And now we're going to hear a little from Lane from George Washington University. But really quickly first, Emma Beeson dropped your credit card. I'm going to hold it. Please come and grab it. Lane! Great. Thank you. Oh, Lane! Woo!
Hi everyone, my name is Lane Slossinger. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm here on behalf of the transgender and non-binary students of George Washington University. My original plan was to stand here and remind you all that trans people need abortion care too. That this isn't just a woman's issue, but an issue that will impact anyone and everyone who might need an abortion regardless of gender. Standing here right in front of the Supreme Court after this sickening draft ruling and ask people not to misgender me as they take my fucking rights away. It doesn't matter whether we are cis or trans. They don't ask for our pronouns before deciding what we can and cannot do with our bodies. Yet for trans youth, this is another barrier to gender-affirming care, and countless states, our access to things like hormones and medical transition and privacy are under attack. Overturning Roe is just another nail in the coffin, reminding us that if we can't make decisions about gender-affirming healthcare and then our access to abortion disappears, what autonomy do we even have with our bodies? We know that if Roe is overturned, we will not all equally carry the burden. Folks of color and people living in low-income communities are already disproportionately affected by existing bans on abortion and will continue to be impacted if Roe is overturned. We also know that this draft decision is only the beginning. If they can overturn a precedent like Roe v. Wade, who's to say they won't come from same-sex marriage or interracial marriage next? This is an issue that involves all of us. Time. Abortion is still legal in all 50 states. Roe is still law of the land. To make sure that it doesn't just stay that way, but everyone who wants or might want or loves someone who might want an abortion safely, comfortably, and on their own terms. Abortion fund. Donate to abortion funds in places like Texas and Florida, other states that have trigger laws. Use your voice. Keep using your voice. Use your voices together and hold these people behind me accountable.
Thank you so much. So I want to hear this thing out. How many people who are here are Generation Z? And how many people are in the middle of finals week right now? People took an AP or an IB test this week but came out here anyway. So, yep, I just wanted us all to realize, look around, meet the person person next to you. We are all here because we are members of Generation Z. Some of us, maybe this upcoming election will be the first one folks are able to vote in. Some of us, it'll be the second or third. But we are all out here because we really care about this, and we know that specifically we are the generation of choice. Thank you. And next I'm going to introduce Leslie Templeton to speak about the intersection of abortion and disability rights.
First off, this is really amazing. So I'm 25 years old, so I'm probably one of the oldest speakers here. So I'm like one of the older Gen Zs. It's really amazing to see all of you here and know like all the work you're doing. It's so great. Wait 1 second, I gotta find my phone real quick. So a couple weeks ago, I had the honor of testifying in front of Congress about the importance of universal health care and life-saving health care. In that speech, I told members of Congress I don't want to die. Today, in front of you, I say it again, I don't want to die. Abortion should be life-saving health care for people like me. I have kidney disease, which makes any pregnancies I have high risk, including high risk of death. Someday I want to have a child, but I want to have a child when I'm able to closely be monitored by doctors, and I can do it as safe as possible to minimize risk. My body is my choice, and that choice means life or death sometimes. No one should be able to force me or anyone else to put their lives at risk for a fetus. My disabled body isn't anyone's incubator. My life is important to me, it's important to my friends, and it's important to my family. Having access to an abortion ensures that if I'm not able to safely carry a baby to term, I have an option for survival. I cannot express the fear I have for those of us who are not living in states that protect our right to abortion. I fear for the lives that will be unnecessarily lost because we pretended abortion was a religious issue instead of an important life-saving healthcare issue. The Supreme Court will have blood on their hands if Roe is overturned, because the people will die. I cannot stress this enough, abortion can save lives. Overturning Roe means my life, and the lives of countless others are on the line. Whether it's those like me who have kidney disease, those who are going through a miscarriage, those who have a life-threatening infection, and countless others, having access to abortion is a life or death issue. My dad always told me being pro-choice meant being pro-life, womb to tomb. As I stand here before all of you, I beg our representatives to save our lives and codify Roe. Because like I said, we don't want to die. And that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Leslie. Okay, so give me a hey if you're from the South. Give me a hey if you traveled on a plane to get here. Give me a hey if you traveled on a bus. Give me a hey if you traveled on the train. We have had so many people who have come out here to join us in this rally. This is how the youth takes action. And now we're going to hear from another speaker, Kate from Persist George Washington University.
Hi everyone, I apologize for my voice, but I've been out here the past couple of days. How many of y'all have been out here too? That is the exact momentum we need to keep this fight going. So my name is Kate Henges. I am the programming director for Persist GW. We were founded as GW Students for Warren, a senator who I was very glad to see out on these steps on Tuesday. However, that's not what I wanted to talk about today. You see, I am an 18-year-old transgender woman. I was a transgender minor. And while I may not know what it's like to have a uterus, I do know what it's like for conservatives to believe that they have a right to control what I do with my own body. For conservatives to believe that they can strip away my life-saving medical care, which includes hormone replacement therapy and which includes abortion. Conservatives have introduced nearly 150 pieces of anti-trans legislation in state legislatures across the nation since the start of 2022. Yes. The issue of reproductive rights and trans rights are deeply intertwined. This is at its core an attack on bodily autonomy for all people. We are fighting the same fight. This will not end with Roe v. Wade. After Roe will come Griswold versus Connecticut, Oberfell v. Hodges, Lawrence versus Texas, Loving versus Virginia, until Republicans send us back to the 50s. But we will not go back. When Republicans launch an assault on all of us, we must not be divided. We must stand in solidarity with one another. We do this by being out in these streets, by organizing, and by donating to local mutual aid efforts. We have to take care of one another. I want everyone who is standing here right now to take out your phones and go to dcabortionfund.org if you are from the city. And if you are not, I want you to look up what your local abortion fund is. I want you to donate or volunteer to drive individuals to their appointments or to serve as a clinic escort. And if you are a GW student, please join Rage GW to keep up the local fight for reproductive rights. Because I don't just want you out here today. I want you out here tomorrow, and the next week, and the next month, and the next year, until we have reproductive rights for every single person in this country. To close out, I want to emphasize that the people sitting in this building behind us are unaccountable. But the people sitting in that building right now in front of us are deeply accountable to the people. They owe it to us young voters. So we must call on Congress to follow the example of senators like Elizabeth Warren and fight to end the filibuster, to pack the courts, and to codify Roe v. Wade and the Equal Rights Amendment into law. So I would like to end with a chant that's very near and dear to my heart for us to all face that body over there and tell them to do what is right. Not the church, not the state, we must decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, we must decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, we must decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, we must decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, we must decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, we must decide our fate. Thank you all for coming out here today. This is the energy we need.
Thank you so much. And so on that note, I want to continue about how did we get to where we are today. And what we know is that 5 justices were appointed by 2 presidents who lost the popular vote and confirmed by 51 senators who together represent less than half of this country's population are going to strip away what's estimated to be the rights of approximately 40 million people of reproductive age. And here's what we know. This could be codified into law. The House has already passed the bill to codify Roe v. Wade into law. The House, led by Democrats, has already passed the bill to ratify the ERA. But why is it not going anywhere? Because of a handful of senators that that have not been listening to us. But we are showing our power now today. We'll show our power in November, and we'll show our power every day in between. And now I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Sophia from Gen Z for Change.
Hi, I'm Sophia Omella. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a student, an activist, a software developer. And a black woman whose life was saved by contraception. In 2018, I received an emergency blood transfusion because my monthly periods have caused extremely unstable anemia, and since I have regulated my periods with hormonal birth control and recently stopped them entirely. That was a decision made by my doctor and myself. That was it. To stay alive, I have to have complete control over my body. Should anyone infringe on those rights, my health and safety would immediately be threatened. While this cautionary tale is about contraceptives, the overturning of Roe versus Wade is a direct assault on the privacy and liberty of everyone of reproductive age. Justice Alito's core argument is that abortion is, quote, not deeply rooted in this nation's history and tradition. Our nation's history is marked by genocide. But we owe it to our ancestors to fight for a better world than they had, and to fight for a better world that our children would be happy to inherit. Thomas Jefferson himself affirmed that the earth belongs to the living, that the dead have neither powers nor rights on it. Staunch constitutional originalism cannot win. The law of a 21st century land must be cognizant of 21st century issues. 21st century issues like the maternal mortality rate, which is higher in the U.S. than any other Western nation, 3 times higher for black people like myself, and even higher in those states that are likely to ban abortion. 21st century issues like mass incarceration, wherein folks who seek abortion or have miscarriages or stillbirths will become cheap labor for the prison industrial complex to exploit. 21st century issues like true civil liberties, where your race, gender, class, sexuality, and location will not determine your ability to prosper and truly be free. How can we proclaim ourselves to be the land of the free when the freedom to our own bodies is not guaranteed? We can't! Let's not be mistaken. The motive of this activist court is not in the pursuit of protecting life nor liberty. It is the pursuit of power and control. If they wanted to protect life and liberty, we would not have the foster care to prison pipeline. Child rape would not cost tens of thousands of dollars, putting low-income people on the streets. Comprehensive sex education would not be an afterthought, and contraception would not be more difficult to purchase than Viagra. My parents always told me a little something young I'd be familiar with. If you want something right, you gotta do it yourself. People in that court tend to forget that they work for us. When they choose to use their power to serve themselves, we must take matters into our own hands. We, the people, will not have our rights stripped away. We, the people, must support the communities who need it most. We, the people, will not be mitigated by policies passed by people who do not reflect the true wants and needs of us, the people. At Gen Z for Change, we're creating digital tools to streamline digital civic engagement surrounding this issue. If there is an anti-choice tip line, we will spam it. If there is an avenue to report abortions, we will nullify it. If there are aggressive legislators, we will organize to vote them out. We've done it before in Virginia, we've done it before in Texas, and we're damn ready to do it on a national scale. While half the nation seeks to ban our reproductive freedom, we seek to widen it. Well, I out your phones right now. Go to GenZforChange.org/choice and donate to abortion funds. We have created a fundraiser that splits between 50 abortion funds all over the country, namely those in Midwestern and Southern states, which have the highest maternal mortality rates and have the most people who will die from childbirth if they do not have this life-saving care.
Say the name of it again.
It's GenZforChange.org/choice. Yes. We are the generation that will not bend to the demands of those seeking to oppress us. We are Gen Z and we will make change whether you like it or not. That's all I got. Thanks for coming out.
Okay.
The people united
will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided.
Those were some very powerful words from Sophia. This is our revolution, Gen Z. Now we're going to hear from our next speaker, Jamie Turner from the Association of Young Americans. Come out. Okay. Hi, Jamie.
How are you? Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Turner. I'm with the Association of Young Americans. I'm the communications manager. I've been an organizer since high school. My first organizing moment was I organized Black Lives Matter rallies at my high school, and they almost didn't let me walk to graduation. But today, I'm here to talk to you about what the hell just happened.
What the hell?
Yeah, because, I mean, as a Black woman, I've never really had rights per se. People have always had to say what happens to my body for centuries. There's always been laws about what I can and cannot do. So this isn't really new to me. So I'm here to talk to you about we need to expand these rights. Like Roe v. Wade is not the ceiling. It's just a stepping stone. Because, I mean, we have to expand access for everyone because especially marginalized groups like Black and Latino women, and brown women, we have the least amount of access to this care and we have the least amount of resources as well. If they ban abortions across the states, what are we supposed to do if we don't have the resources to go and get an abortion? Especially young people, a lot of us, we see like with how the economy is right now, a lot of us cannot afford to bring a life into the world. So what they're trying to do, of course, is birth rates are low. They're trying to get us to have more babies, but it's like we can't afford them. They want us to have more babies, but they don't care what happens when these babies come.
Yes.
Because it's like, yes, you're pro-life, but you're pro-life up until this baby is born, especially if the baby has a face that is dark. There are so many Black children that are in the foster care system. There are so many Black children that are still orphans waiting to be adopted. They're the least likely to be adopted. Matter of fact, they're more likely to age out of the foster system and go into the prison industrial complex, which is their goal. That's what they want. And then abortion is healthcare because abortion can save your life. I've had friends who have had abortions because that was what they decided for their future. Because if they had a baby, they wouldn't have gotten to go on to their master's degree or gotten to go on to whatever professional degree, whatever opportunity they wanted, because that is your choice at the time. If you want to have a baby, that is your choice. But if you don't want to have a baby, you should also have the option for that. But forcing women to have babies that they cannot take care of leads to resentment, neglect, and we're going to see a lot of people lose their lives. because some women are just not going to take that. We're going to see a rise in unsafe abortions, underground back alley abortions, which we don't want. This is doing way more harm than they think it will, because they can't see past their 1950s thinking of I should be a homemaker in the kitchen taking care of the kids, and that's just not the life that I want for myself. That's not the future that I want. If that is what you want for your life, yes, but that I want you to be able to choose that life. That's all I'm asking for. People to be able to choose what to do with your body. Choose whether you want to have a baby, you want to have a family. You don't want to have a family. I mean, maybe we should be advocating for more vasectomies. Women can only get pregnant once a year. Men can get as many women pregnant as possible. So, and honestly, it's the rate of us getting pregnant is not that high, but the rate of a man being able to get, I think I looked at the rate, they can probably get at least like 10 women pregnant within a year. It's disgusting, right? That's why it's always been about controlling women. The patriarchy system has always wanted to control us. They don't want us to have the option to choose. We enter the workforce. They wouldn't let us have bank accounts until 1983. So we used to have to depend on them. So now that women are way more independent, they're scared. Yes. They're scared for the future.
They should be.
And they better, exactly. And they better be scared. They better be scared for anybody who will fight back against this, because it's not just affecting women, it's affecting people who are non-binary, it's affecting people who are non-identifying as women. It's affecting everyone. Like, trans men have access to this care, need access to this care as well. So it's like, it's always their focus on women. That's why I hate the term as men shouldn't make policies about our body. There's women making policies about our bodies. So I just stand and I ask you, abortion is health care, expand the rights, and Roe is not the ceiling, it is the stepping stone.
Okay, thank you so much. Next we have Leah from Worker Circle. Come out.
How are you guys doing? Okay, I'm very riled up, so I can say a lot, but I'm just going to read the speech I already wrote because I knew that I'd get flustered, and so I wrote something here. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Everyone who has already spoken was amazing and has inspired me a lot, and I have a lot more to think about and to be inspired by, so thank you so much. Hi guys, I'm Leah, as they said, my name hasn't changed, and I'm a sophomore at NYU, and I'm here today with the Worker Circle. So I got into this whole thing when the Parkland school shooting happened, and I was a sophomore in high school, and I felt the same kind of furious that I am today. I knew I had to do something, and I did. My state rep, who I asked to pass a gun control bill, he had funding from the NRA, and he said no. Don't worry, guys. I worked to help elect a progressive public defender to his seat, and everything was okay. She showed me that the world we wanted was ours to fight for. And soon my list of mentors included her and many other passionate women in law, politics, and activism, like the people that we've heard from. So, some of these women were mothers and some are not, but all are where they are today because they had a choice. They were able to go and change the world. These are the success stories of the Roe v. Wade era. They had autonomy. And I am only here because they were there and they had that autonomy. And I'm 20, and kids my age, we're lucky. We could grow up with mentors like these who could choose when and if to have a baby. And that's the reason we have representation, why we have women to look up to. So without Roe v. Wade, predominantly poor people will be forced into premature motherhood. Want to keep the American dream alive? The belief that anyone, no matter where
work can find prosperity here, well then protect abortion rights. Because the burden of forced motherhood will not be felt equally. Poor women in rural areas will be trapped in cycles of poverty. The American dream is the ability of anyone to make it. And if the justices in this high court really love America, then believe in this American dream. Protect it. Because this is my American dream, and it was my mother's, and I'm scared that it won't be my daughter's. But that's just the thing. I want to be the kind of mother my mom was to me. She was a happy mother because she wanted to be a mother, and she was an amazing mother. And that's what it is really about control, agency, and power. And that power is ours, we just have to take it. Whose power? Our power! Whose power? Our power! Whose power? Our power! Thank you, we got this, guys!
Thank you so much, Leah. I just wanted to comment on one thing before we go to the next speaker, which is, so for those of you who don't know the Workers' Circle, which Leah, was just speaking on behalf of, is a Jewish progressive organization. And I want to bring up something also as a Jew that I think is really important, because we hear a lot that people say, oh, well, you know, people who are really religious, which isn't even necessarily true, but people who use religion as a basis for why we shouldn't have abortion access. But the reality is that the Jewish religion and faith teaches that we need to be able to have this choice, and we need to do that. And so when the Supreme Court strikes down 50 years of precedent, and they claim that they're doing it because it's not written in the Constitution, what we do have written in the Constitution is freedom of religion. And when they overturn Roe v. Wade based on this extremist view, they are actually infringing on those of on our religion. So I am now really excited to get to introduce my friend Emily, who does incredible work as a clinic escort and abortion doula.
Thank you so much, Lee. My name is Emily Harrison, and I'm a clinic escort and abortion doula. I've been in the procedure room with hundreds of patients and have helped hundreds more get from their car door to the clinic. So believe me when I say, every type of person gets an abortion. With those experiences, there are dozens of extremely personal stories I could tell about patients who had to travel hours across state lines, or had to push their procedures back by weeks because they couldn't afford it, or how having an abortion helps someone accomplish their amazing life goals. But we have learned no amount of sad stories will change what the Supreme Court or anti-abortion politicians think. They will always try to control our bodies. They will always try to dismiss our pain. And they will always put their personal profit over our lives. That's why it's so important we continue to show up for each other. Abortions have been around for as long as humans have been on Earth, and there have always been communities of healers, providers, nurses, and supporters who have shown up. Although it is completely understandable to feel helpless and distraught over this leaked decision, we must not give up on ourselves or our communities. We must fund the nearly 100 abortion funds across the country doing the work each and every day. We must support the thousands of doulas, care workers, and clinic escorts who are here to help patients through their abortions. We must protect the providers and clinic workers who always put their patients first. And most importantly, we must remember that we are not alone in this fight. No matter what happens, we will be here for us. Our legal rights may be disappearing, but just like abortion will always be necessary, this community will always be here. Thank you all for being here. Remember to practice radical love and care to each and every one of you, and never let this community go.
Who protects us? We protect us. Who protects us? We protect us. Who protects us? We protect us. Who protects us? We protect us.
So up next we have Marianne from the Pride Liberation Project.
Hi everyone! I am so happy
happy to see all of your faces here today. My name is Marianne Montgomery, my pronouns are she, they, and I'm an organizer actually with Generation Ratify. So when my mom arrived in the United States from the Philippines in 1984, coming from poverty in a country controlled by the corrupt Marcos family that stole billions from the Filipino people, she had this idealized vision of the American dream and democracy, which included legal abortions, something that Filipino people still do not have access to. But in the 38 years she's lived here, including the 17 years of my life, we have witnessed countless threats to democracy and individuals' civil liberties. The guise of democracy that draws so many to America often leads to disappointment. So imagine my mom's disappointment as she's watched my siblings and I grow up as part of Gen Z and shared in the frustration we feel as we witness racial violence, violence against women and femmes, the blatant disregard of elected officials for our rights and our identities, and so many more injustices. The struggle she fought to defeat for her future children as a 20-something immigrant of this country have instead only multiplied. As Gen Z, we make up the most diverse generation with the largest voting bloc. And we must fight not only for our lives and our futures, but for our parents and grandparents who fought for Roe, who truly trusted the officials who dictate our country's doctrines. We must continue to fight for the protection of privacy and bodily autonomy for all. We call on Congress to codify Roe v. Wade into federal law by passing the Women's Health Protection Act and ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment. To ensure the protection of the rights of women, non-conforming, non-binary, and all queer people, with an emphasis on protections of Black and brown individuals. For the sake of our generation, for the sake of the organizers that came before us, for our lives and our futures, we will not go back. Our right to bodily autonomy and safe, accessible abortions should not be in the hands of 9 unelected officials. Always remember, the only person that should decide what happens to your body is yourself. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. So we have a few more speakers here today. But before that, I want to get our energy back up. So let's do a little call and response. When Roe v. Wade is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When the right to health care is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When the right to vote is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When the rule of law is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When Roe v. Wade is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now I'm thrilled to get to introduce our next speaker, one of our DC youth mayors, Lords.
Hi everyone, my name is Lotus Renee. I am one of 2 District of Columbia's youth mayors. But today I come to you as an African American 16-year-old girl. What gives pro-lifers, who are both men and women, the right to tell someone what they can and cannot do with their bodies? Doesn't that infringe on the First and Fourth Amendment right? The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or the right to privacy? Overpopulated prisons, low economic development in communities, low performing schools, yet no protests by pro-lifers. Are pro-lifers only pro-life when it comes to the birth of children? Or are they pro-ethical humanitarians who step in when they see a problem that affects toddlers, teenagers, and young adults? Who, by the way, we're all former fetuses. Abortion wasn't a problem when it was a black genocide. But as white from the beginning getting abortion, everyone had something to say. Because if enough white babies aren't being born, they will lose their numerical majority. It will no longer be a white man's land. So is the movement really to stop women from aborting children, or is it in fear of losing their numerical advantage? People experience financial, mental, and social issues that impact their decisions every day. And don't say adoptions. Over 115,000 children are waiting to be adopted out of 400,000+ children in foster care systems. Furthermore, studies have shown that 80% of children in foster care systems have significant mental health issues. So you mean to tell me I can bring a child into this world, I can't care for them, but it's neglect and I get arrested? But me giving myself the opportunity to abort a baby is wrong? Reproductive decisions, terminating unplanned pregnancies, is a medical decision, not a legislative decision. Should we track down impregnators and force them to have vasectomies? Yes. Seems like fair trade to me. Because harassing people about decisions about their bodies doesn't make you any better of a saint. Not everyone is mentally and financially prepared to take on the responsibilities. Start accepting that women have the right to make choices pertaining to their bodies. You don't have to change your beliefs today, but learn to accept these women's inherent enumerated rights given to them by the United States Constitution and the First and Fourth Amendment. We want to protect people's personal, medical, and constitutional rights. As much as we agree or disagree about when life starts, we should be able to agree that infringing on people's rights is a very dangerous proposition. This can open Pandora's box to infringe on the inherent enumerated rights that our forefathers and foremothers protect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lotus. Speaking of constitutional rights, next we have Alex from Generation Ratify.
Hey guys, my name's Alex Doyle. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a college organizer originally from South Carolina, so I know all too well the danger Alita's draft opinion poses to my community. While South Carolina may only have 3 abortion clinics in the whole state, they provide options that women and people who want to get abortions deserve. Abortion is healthcare and a human right. In a country founded in freedom, it's disheartening and unacceptable that a handful of men can take away the right of individuals to make private decisions about when they want to become pregnant. Also, Alita's reasoning that abortion is not a historical value in the United States is dangerous and wrong. He applies the same reasoning to precedents set by Loving v. Virginia over Bell v. Hodges. And just to be clear, Justice Alito, America's always been queer. We've always sought control of our health care. Abortion may not be in the Constitution, but neither are women. Neither are people beyond the binary. And it's time that changed. For the Equal Rights Amendment will strengthen protections for abortion access, so we never have to sit here in fear waiting ever again. As those that came before me reminded you, abortion is still legal. Donate to your local abortion funds, especially in the South. If you're looking for somewhere to donate, Palmetto Abortion Fund and Ren Network are doing amazing work in South Carolina. And please, don't stop fighting. Thank you. Palmetto Abortion Fund and Ren Network in South Carolina have amazing resources. Yes, thank you.
And next up to speak is going to be Talia with Voters of Tomorrow.
Hey y'all. My name's Talia. I am the Deputy Communications Director for Voters of Tomorrow. I might be one of the older members of Gen Z here. I'm 23 years old. Elder age, I'm old enough to drive a car. I can vote. I can drink alcohol. I can join the military. I can take out a credit card. I can saddle myself with tens of thousands of dollars of student debt. Yeah. I can do all of those things that have major effects on my life, and no one bats an eye. Yet according to certain authoritarian public officials on a sexist power trip, at no age am I considered old enough to make decisions about my own body. No matter if I'm 18, if I'm 23, if I'm 30, or 100. If this draft opinion becomes law, in at least 17 states, I will no longer be allowed to have an abortion, and that number will probably grow.
It's a shame!
The Supreme Court has decided to strip the rights away from 50% of the country's population, with a decision that 69% of Americans disapprove of. The Supreme Court, in which 5 of the justices were appointed by presidents who lost the popular vote.
They're illegitimate.
The far right continues to tell us that the word abortion is not in the Constitution. Well, neither is misogyny, but yet they love to find it. Being pro-life is not about protecting life, it is about regulating bodies. They call themselves pro-life, and yet they refuse to fund people's cancer treatments, regulate gun laws, lower the price of insulin so people don't have to ration it. Abortion will never be completely eradicated, only safe abortions will be. When abortion is illegal, people who are pregnant will be forced to find unsafe ways to have an abortion. When abortion is illegal, suicide rates among youth and sexual assault survivors increase. When abortion is illegal, people die. Sam Alito said that the original Roe versus Wade decision was egregiously wrong. Well, Gen Z says that Justice Alito is egregiously wrong if he thinks that he can strip away our rights. The Supreme Court is leading our generation to a world where we have less autonomy than our parents and our grandparents. The job of a truly just, righteous, and fair Supreme Court is to protect our rights, not take them away. If the leaked Dobbs decision becomes law, the Supreme Court will have abandoned its duty to stand independent of the political system and to fairly read and interpret the Constitution. Instead, SCOTUS will have become a fully political actor, bound not by sound or legal reasoning, but by their own policy opinions and whims, taking part in a coordinated attack against our nation's youth. Old white evangelical men should not have a monopoly on power and control within our government. Now more than ever, we must elect more women, more LGBTQ people, more people of color, more youth representatives to office than ever before. Because the only way to change this system is to participate in it. And so, we must vote this November and in every election thereafter for the rest of our lives. We must vote out these fascists, and we must elect people who will unequivocally, absolutely, fully represent us. Because while these attacks on us will not stop, neither will we. The foundation of our democracy is the right to vote. We the people, all the people, should have a say in our laws, in our bodies, and in our futures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now for our next speaker, we have Lauren from March for Our Lives.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm pissed off. I'm like so pissed off that I'm gonna breathe before I say this. Okay. Hey guys, my name's Lauren Hogg. I'm a co-founder of March for Our Lives, and I am also a freshman at Georgetown University. I'm here for the women in my family that were able to attend secondary education as well as pursue their dreams because they had access to abortion. I'm also here because I'm a survivor of gun violence, and it pains me every single fucking day that a gun has more rights than I do. They work harder to protect us. Before I begin, I want to re-emphasize that abortion care is not just for women. It is for non-binary people, trans people, everyone who can fucking have a child. Have you guys ever seen the beginning of Handmaid's Tale? Because this shit feels like it. Like a lot. Like it's absolute bullshit. But it basically, I can't even, I'm sorry. But you got it. Okay, don't be fooled. Overturning Roe versus Wade is more about just forcing people to give birth. It's about controlling people and keeping people in a system that keeps them down and continues to let poor people be stuck in cycles of poverty. Okay, also, the men in that building, two of them have incredibly, well, I'm sorry.
Accused of sexual assault.
Yeah, literally, two of them have been accused of sexual assault. And I refuse to let them fuck with any more of us. One of the most frightening aspects of what Justice Alito, if I can call him Justice, fucking said, is that it sets precedent. What's next, right? They're gonna come for gay rights, they're gonna come for gay marriage, they're gonna come for interracial couples. We cannot let that happen. Although the news is heartbreaking, there's still hope. I mean, we're here, we're a fucking gorgeous generation. Look at us, we're hot as fuck. Anyways, also, please vote. That's literally, please vote. So there are many calls of action that other speakers are gonna say here today and have said here today, but I think one that I wanna say is to take care of each other. Take care of yourself, because I go to class every day and we talk about this, and I have friends that burst out in tears. I burst out in tears, and we're not going to be able to fight this if we're all extremely exhausted. So let's make sure we're drinking water, getting sleep when we can, and finding joy in the little moments that we can. And before I end, I want to also finish in a chant. If you guys can join me. Also, I want to say that abortion is still legal. You can still access abortion, so don't think otherwise. Okay. Before I go, remember, this is what democracy looks like. That is what hypocrisy looks like. Ready? This is what democracy looks like. That is what hypocrisy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That is what hypocrisy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That is what hypocrisy looks like. This is what.
Thank you, Lauren. I just want to give a little shout out to Generation Ratify. So I'm currently the Maryland State Outreach Director at Generation Ratify, and I work with an amazing group of people dedicated to ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment. So Justice Alito had a lot to say the other day about how there's no clear basis for Roe v. Wade, for Casey, and for Dobbs. Ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment would explicitly prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex in the United States Constitution. This proposed amendment would ensure our nation's reproductive freedoms. The ERA is how we fight back, and I'm urging Congress, our lawmakers, the Senate, to pass the ERA, to pass the Equal Rights Amendment, and to secure our reproductive rights. Thank you. I'm going to pass it off to Eve now, and she's going to close this out.
Thank you. Let's everybody give a big hand for Talia. So I just wanted to close out quick quickly by saying what is giving me hope right now. I started a call, one of the calls when we were planning this, about saying what is giving us hope. And so the first thing I wanted to say is all of us being here and all the groups that help get folks here. So I again wanted to quickly go through the list to make sure that we give them the credit they deserve. So some of the groups that helped put this together today were Voters of Tomorrow, Gen Z for Change, Sunrise Movement, Path to Progress, Generation Ratify, Hoyas for Choice, Young Women for Us, DC College Democrats, Educate Us, Future Coalition, March for Our Lives, the Feminist Front, Blue Future, Association of Young Americans, Young Invincibles, Ignite, the Workers' Circle, Light a Lamp, Healthcare Awareness Month, GW and DC College Democrats, Future Doctor Society, Pride Liberation Project, GW Allen and Pride, Persist GW, Transgender and Non-Binary Students of GW, Feminist Camp, and Feminist Campus. So let's give a big round of applause to those groups. If you came here today and maybe you are not yet working with a group but you want to get involved, turn to the person next to you, or if you talk to at least the 5 people around you, I'm sure somebody here will happily help you get involved in a group that's working for justice. So please do that. But also I just want to say, what gives me hope is all of us being here today. The reality is that all of us, we were not alive when Roe v. Wade was heard in front of the Supreme Court. We're going to enter into a time that is not a time that we have ever experienced before, but we know how important it is, these rights that we have, and we know how important it's been as these rights have been stripped away at the state and local level across the country. And we're going to fight for it. And what else gives me hope is how close we are to being able to codify this into law. The reality is that it has been legislation to codify Roe v. Wade into law has been passed by one chamber of Congress. It has the support of so many in the other chamber of Congress. We are literally a few votes away in the Senate from being able to codify this crucial legislation into law. And if you look here about everybody who's standing here today, we all know that we're going to continue to fight for that. And if we can't convince those few senators that are standing between us and this important law, then we'll make sure that we get new senators. But it's not just us standing here today right now. It's all of our allies and friends across the country that have been rallying and fighting at their courthouses, at their state capitals. And it's everybody who we know who has been online, who has been fighting alongside us, maybe sending out that tweet in the middle of studying for their classes. And that is what should give us all hope today. Because whether today is if you've been out here protesting every day, if you've been doing advocacy around this work for a long time, or if you're just now realizing how fucked up this is and that we need to fight, I want everybody to look around each other, make one new friend when they're here, and promise to take one action that has something to do with one of the calls to actions that you heard from our speakers today. People talk about the importance of contacting your senators, about the importance of donating to abortion funds, about the importance of volunteering if you're able to yourself at a place that's going to give people abortion, about the importance of voting. I want everybody to think of at least one of those things and make a specific plan about when are you going to do that, how are you going to do that, and what 3 of your friends are you going to bring with you to do that. So thank you all so much for coming out here today, and that concludes it. We're going to play more music.